structure, quite all right. Okay, then you begin to produce. Look at Calabar Tinapa. Some of these products you can be supplying them. Some of this, although it's a free zone, for instance. Okay, but one good thing that they have done is to focus on entertainment or that kind of a thing, because you come for business in Calabar, you take a boat, 20 minutes to Uyo, you play golf, have a good meal if you like nightclubbing. You can do that and all that and get back to your this thing, which is good. But they need to attract more industries, okay? So that...
Look, I think I heard them say that it was in stages. They needed to put in infrastructure first before they come in with the industry. So that, you don't put the industry and then...
No, which is good, yes, which is good. The infrastructure alone will attract. Okay? Now, what happens is that the natural endowment, the factor endowment in every community, in every state, determines the kind of people that will be congregate in that place. Let's take, for instance, Port Harcourt. It's oil. Most people there are either doing oil or ancillary businesses related to oil. So these are the kinds of things you need to. In Ebonyi State, you find that, yes, we have, apart from the quarry and all that, agriculture, we need to attract people that are interested in the agricultural produce and increase, so that they can begin to think more, begin to manufacture or invent some new tools, implements, so that the manual labor, manual way of farming will be taken away from, so that people can live longer there and not use their human energy to begin to do that. There are some tools that could be. So we need to congregate, have people there that could be doing that. Yeah.
Isn't that why we also should ask that? What are states doing with their budget? Because, they also form part of the national development plan of this country. So what are they doing with the money they get? The internal generated revenue?
You see, it's a very unfortunate thing, because the federal government has, like Americans will say, Uncle Sam, has become big father, who marries so many wives and tells the wife, look, don't do any other thing. Just everybody looks up to him, like a big, good Samaritan or something, who is interested in dishing out this. So everybody is looking up to state government. Federal government. Nobody is looking at the states. Even in the issue of security, okay, it's on rare occasions that you will begin to see federal government intervene in some of these matters. You begin to wonder, what are states doing? They receive security allowances, they make budgets and all that. So people should begin to ask their states.
And they have internal, they generate revenue internally.
Yeah, they generate. But unfortunately, like somebody was sharing some time ago that some states don't even generate. Local government don't generate enough IGR to cover.
Wow.
For instance, my local government, I don't even know, they have an annual budget of 150 million. So, but there is no, apart from sending some unemployed youths, give them wooden nail objects and to put on the roads and harass farmers and bicycle to pay bicycle this thing to pay, that is not creative. That's pedestrian. People should come up with the creative ways. When you build these things, open up the whole place, then businesses can come in.
When you talk about, sorry to bust in, you just talked about opening up the entire place. Last week we had the Minister of Transportation here in our studios, and we also talked about the rail transport system, and that was one area Okunjawala also talked about yesterday, saying, well, it has improved to almost 3 million users on our rail system in the last 2 years, while they say they're also working to connect more places. Let's look at that sector and ask ourselves if truly they've done well in that regard.
Well, the rail system is one opportunity that we are really missing out on, because I was talking to a gentleman a couple of days ago, and he said that he lives in Ota. And he has office, he works in a VI. And I said, how do you cope? He said he drives his car to the nearest rail, he parks it. That was sometime last year. He has stopped because of, a security system, a security issue. Now, he parks it at he boards this, because when they test run the executive coach in the rail, they had AC, well carpeted and all that, everything looking, and the top executives will just, park their cars and hop in the train. In less than a few minutes, they're around there. He hops another one, and they'll serve you snacks, they serve you tea, you read papers and all that, which was good. But this year, that thing did not last 3 months. And it just stopped, and the guy stopped because every area boy now hops in, and you see people hanging on top of the roof and all that.
That was exactly the same question we actually posed before the minister. We wanted to find out if truly he's been having he's had any ride lately in any of those trains, because it was good the way you just highlighted it, but some have started complaining that they can't actually hop in any of those anymore.
Yes.
So if they don't look in that regard, in that direction, it means all the effort that Kunje Wallace just talked about that they have achieved is defeated. Because if people don't come on and patronize the rail system,
because that's why I said that they need to synchronize everything, so that when one is working, he needs the support of the other to be able to make that to keep working, and in supporting that one becomes, and everything goes round, and the whole system now works. Now, if the rail system works, the duration or the quality of roads and the longevity of the roads will also improve. But heavy truck, heavy duty trucks are plying our roads on a daily basis because there's no alternative. What could have been hauled through the rail system is now being hauled through the roads, and they're causing accidents and breakdowns and all that. There's a place in Ondo State. They're warning people going to traveling about Ondo or thereabout that road that there's a flood somewhere, and it has caused so many accidents. And because heavy duty trucks ply that. When you do the railways, have a rail ring around the country, and how much will it cost? How much? Yes.
Okay, going back to the issue of the taxes, I'll tie it up with the pension reform and pension funds, for instance, about 7 trillion or thereabouts, and I stand to be corrected in the area of pensions, 5 trillion for taxes recovered. But all of that, how does all of this translate to the works on ground, to the life of the Nigerian?
Yeah, because one is that the pension fund alone is enough to begin to, if well managed, to begin to fund businesses, because that's what is meant in the different parts of the world. You borrow from pension funds, which is a long-term fund, and begin to finance some of these housing projects, even without borrowing from the World Bank.
So with that kind of money, do we still need to go out borrowing?
No, you see, because one is borrowing is good for as long as if you cannot generate enough to begin to do all that. And if the investment you're making, you're getting a higher return than borrowing. The interest you're paying when you borrow. For instance, interest-free loan, fine, you have 40 years. But don't forget the World Bank, IMF, and WTO. These are what we call, somebody called them unholy trinity. These are unholy trinity. And one thing is easier to get in, but it's difficult to come out. And they begin to dictate to you and come up with you have our money, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that, okay, which is not to national interest. So these are things we have to watch out for.
Subsidy?
Yes. Yes, a full subsidy, even though I believe strongly that the things should be taken away, completely.
But there are certain things that should be done before it's taken away.
Certain things must be done. Our refineries, they should be, even government should not even. I'm happy that I met one young man, he runs an oil company called Masters Energy. Just a young man in his early 40s. And he's building a petrochemical company. A refinery is somewhere. So even there will be a better use. The value chain of oil will be increased. And it will help the plastic industry and all that. So Dangote also is also planning to, set up a petrochemical company, which would be an alternative here. Because the world, even the U.S., Obama has committed, I think, about 300 million or billion or something like that towards finding an alternative. Okay.
Like shale
yes, yes. Even in Israel, because in Israel they believe that One way, because oil has attracted funds terrorism. To curb terrorism in the world, you need to find an alternative use for oil.